Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I will show you how I recreated this strapless bustier dress with A-line shape. It's a simple tutorial and is beginner friendly. If this is what you would like to learn, make sure to continue watching till the end. Make sure to watch the next tutorial on how to sew this, because in that tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to sew inseam finishing. As you can see the inside, how neat is looking. Let me turn it inside out so that you see how neat the inside is. So this is it. You can see how neat everything is. I'm going to be showing you all the sewing tips and tricks and how to make this inseam finishing. So if that's what you would like to learn, make sure you come back to watch by subscribing if you haven't subscribed, and if you have subscribed, make sure to turn on your notification bell icon so that you'll be able to see the video when I upload it. I'm going to upload it immediately after this sewing pattern. So let's start with the pattern drafting. Here I have 2 yards of fabric. You can use crepe fabric, you can use Duchess, you can use silk, you can use Mikado fabric. So this is a fabric I'm using, is like taffeta, sample taffeta fabric, but you can use all these fabrics I called for you. And I'm also going to use a cotton lining. I'm using this color. I don't have the exact color for the purple, so this is what I'm going to use. You will need interfacing for this. I have hairstay here. This is cotton hairstay. We call it hairstay in Nigeria. I don't know what they call it elsewhere. And I'm also going to use paper gum stay. That's what we call this type of interfacing, because it looks like paper. As you can see, is a see-through, is the medium paper gum stay if you're in Nigeria. And you will need this bust hem. This is very good when you're making bustiers and corsets. It comes in handy. If you don't have this ready-made, you can make one for yourself. And then I'm going to be using all my sewing supplies, my scissors, rulers, pencils, markers. Also, we are going to be drafting this on my pattern paper. So here I have my pattern paper. This is where I'm going to be drafting this pattern for today's sewing tutorial. I'll start making the sewing pattern by squaring out a line. This line would be where I'm going to start all the horizontal lines from. So I'm going to square this line out. You can use any margin of your choice. You can use 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Like you know, this dress is a strapless bustier dress, so we are going to go off the shoulder and start from 8 inches. So with my tape rule here, I'm going to mark 11 inches for the bust point and 13 inches for the under bust line, then 15 inches for the waistline. And from the waistline, I'm going to take the hip length, which is 7.75. Also from the waistline, I'm going to take the length of the skirt, which is 20 inches, and mark it. I'll go ahead and square out these lines. So this place is the armhole length, the chest line, and the neckline. And this is the bust point. I don't want to use marker for this. Then this is the under bust line. I'll go ahead and write this. This is the waistline, this is the hip line, and then this is the dress length. I'll go ahead and run you through the lines again. This is the armhole length, which is the neckline. This is the waistline, the hip line, and the dress length. I forgot to tell you the measurements I'm working with. I'm working with bust 34, waist 27, hips 40, and dress length 35 inches. So on the chest line, we are going to divide bust divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. So the bust is 34 inches divided by 4 will give me 8.5 inches plus 1.5 inches for that, which would be 10 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 10 inches on the chest line. And on the waistline, I'm going to divide waist divided by 4 plus 2.5 inches for that allowance. 27 divided by 4 will give me 6.75 plus 2.5 inches for that, which will be 9.25. I'll go ahead and mark 9.25 here. On the hip line, you're going to divide hips divided by 4 plus 1 inch. So 40 divided by 4 will give me 10 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. 1 inch is allowance, which will make it 11 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 11 inches here. Whatever I have on the hip line, I'm going to add 3 inches to that and mark it on the hemline. I have 11 inches there plus 3 inches, which 2 inches, 2 inches, which will make it 13 inches. I'll go ahead and connect all my dots. Sorry, I made a mistake and used the wrong ruler. I'm not supposed to use this ruler. I'm supposed to use the straight side of the ruler. So I'm going to use the straight side because the hemline is a flared skirt, not a fitted one. So I'm going to join the lines like this. For the hemline of the dress, I'm going to curve it, so I'm going to come up 2 inches on the side seam and make a curve at the hem like this. Remember, this is a mistake, so I'm going to strike that out. Next, we are going to make that here. So for me to make the dart, I'm going to divide bust span divided by 2. Whatever that is, you impute that here. Mine is 4. I divide it by 2. To get your bust span, measure from one nipple to the other. Whatever that is, divide it by 2, and that's what you're going to mark here. I'm going to come down the length of the dart 6 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this straight line like this. Next, I'll be marking the dart width. So on the center front, towards the center front, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on the bust line and 1 inch on the side seam. On the waistline, I'll mark 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and connect these lines with my curve ruler. Note that I'm trying not to exceed the bust point. So I'll go ahead and connect the curves like this. On the waistline, I'm also going to come down 1/2 inch on the center front side, towards the center front, as you can notice, and then I'm going to connect this down to the dart leg. Then the same thing, I'm going to come down 1 inch on the waistline and connect all the darts like this. So for the chest line, I'm going in with the curve like this, and the under bust line, I'm going to give it a curve. This will make the bustier to push up a bit. So I'll go ahead and connect this straight to the waistline and then curve out the dart leg like this. As you're marking the curve lines, make sure you don't have any sharp edges, so smoothen out all the lines. Remember, this is a bustier dress, that's why I'm giving all these deep dart lines. If it were to be a normal dress, I'm not going to use this amount of dart, so I'll go ahead and cut this out. The front pattern is a 2-piece, so I'm going to separate this on the waistline to have a 2-piece. So, and also I'm going to use this same front pattern to cut out for the back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'll set this lower skirt aside and we're going to use this to cut out the back. So here is my pattern. I have drawn out all the lines. This is the waistline, the hip line, and the length of the dress. I'm going to place the front pattern on the back like this, as you can see. Then I'm going to close the waist dart. Don't mind the upper side, just close the waist dart like this, as you can see me do, and you're going to trace out the side seam. With this, we have our back pattern ready. It's as simple as that, and we're going to continue with the hip line. On the hip line, I'm going to divide hips divided by 4 plus 1 inch. On the hem of the dress, I'm going to do hips divided by 4 plus 3 inches. So I'll go ahead and connect these lines like this and give it an A-line shape, as you can see. Just the same thing with the front. And on the hemline, I'm going to come up 2 inches and connect this with a curve ruler like this. At the center back on the waistline, we are going to contour this and take in ½ inch. This would help the zipper to relax and not have a bulge. So I'm going to make a dart on that back waistline. So just give it a dart, ½ inch dart width. As you can see me do, you connect it to the chest line. You can decide for the back to have a seam on the waistline, but I'm just going to leave mine as one piece like this. If you want, you can cut yours and make it a 2-piece. I want it to be a 1-piece, so I'll go ahead and cut out my back pattern. So this is the center back and this is the back pattern for this dress. So with this, I have all my pattern pieces ready. This is the front and that's the back. So we have come to the end of today's sewing tutorial. I'll be uploading the second part of this tutorial in my next video immediately after this. So if you have not subscribed, remember to subscribe and turn on all your notification bell icons so that you don't miss this sewing tutorial. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.